Hey. What is up, guys, and welcome to GMR. Today we have Randy, George Weedman, 420 Blaze It, and
Wait,
and me,
sure?
just me.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't like to blaze it at the end. You don't like to blaze it up?
No, I'm fine. I like
You
my
didn't just finish
nicknames.
one. I see Borat in the corner, so
Yeah, he's always there. You know,
you're always there
I,
watching you as you sleep. Yeah.
I got it at like Hot Topic when I was 16, and
Hot Topic. I don't
It
think I
kinda
bought
followed
anything
me.
from Hot Topic.
It follows him wherever he goes.
it's not hard to not buy things from Hot Topic, especially once you're no longer 16.
Wake up in the morning, get to roll out of bed, say, "Morning, Borat. How are you?"
I'm doing alright. No, I don't know how to do the Borat.
I don't know how to do
voice.
Borat. So we're gonna talk about Soma today.
Yeah, not
yes,
Borat.
yes.
Yeah.
Sorat.
You know, before we talk about Soma, I want to talk about Soma.
Okay.
And I don't know about you guys, but after I did my video review for Soma, everywhere I went on the internet, because I had kept writing the word Soma over and over again, keywords into Google, you know, and uploading it to YouTube and stuff, I just got so many advertisements everywhere for Soma bras. Like everywhere I went, it was like,
I
Soma
searched for
bras.
Soma just now, and I see that's the first result. Not the game, but women's lingerie.
and like it like got stuck in my cookies. So like everywhere I went, like Google was like, so your advertisement for this time is Soma
Oh.
bras.
So wait, what does
Hello,
that word
lady.
mean? Does Soma mean like scantily clad women or something?
You know, Soma, if I remember correctly, this is one of those things I probably should have looked up before I started doing this. There's a couple of different definitions. I believe that there is a Hindu definition, like a religious definition, and then I also believe that there is like a mind-body physiological definition.
So let's see. When you go to wikipedia.org/wiki/Soma, it says that Soma is from a Proto-Indo-Iranian word that refers to a Vedic ritual drink of importance among the early Indo-Iranians and the subsequent Greater Indian and Greater Iranian cultures. It
The
is
parts of
described
yeah.
India and Iran, which I don't know. Are they talking about like modern Iran? I thought it was like Persia before fairly recent. I don't know. I think it depends on who you ask, but it's described as being prepared by extracting juice from the stalks of a certain plant. I really wish they would just say what kind of plant this juice is made out of in both Hinduism and Zoroastrianism. Oh, so we're going way back. The name of the drink and the plant are the same and also personified as divinity, the three forming a religious or mythological unity. There has been much speculation concerning what is most likely to have been the identity of the original plant. There is no consensus on the question. Huh, okay.
Wow.
How about that?
Well, I think the regular definition is which is weird. The parts of an organism other than the reproductive cells.
Okay.
Okay.
So that covers a lot, though.
yeah,
it does.
yeah.
That covers most of the organism.
So everything, but the junk in the trunk. If you know what I mean.
Everything both above and below the waist. I mean, but Randy, you were mentioning some other definition that would have to do with psychology and the synergy between someone's mind and their body, which would sound like
Soul
the
mind.
most likely culprit if we can find that one. I still don't know what either one would have to do with underwear.
Especially the one, especially the Matt's definition. That would have absolutely nothing to do with underwear.
Right. That's the same thing. I just went straight to that. I was like, hold up, bras, lingerie, reproductive cells.
We're going in the wrong direction here, right?
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about some spoilers, right?
So maybe,
go deep.
right. Oh, we are
Alright.
in this video. We are totally going to be like spoiling everything.
So be warned, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
We're going deep into Soma.
Buzzing.
I wish I
Right.
had played through it more recently, because
Oh.
I reviewed it back when it came out, and I'm wondering if I can remember everything going on now. But it was kind of painful to not go into the spoilers when I was writing the review.
I know, because like anything could have been a spoiler. And I watched a few other reviews, and it was kind of funny how many people were like really spoiling the the story. I'm like, ooh, you really shouldn't have said that. Like that was one of the best parts, was finding out that.
So when you guys got your review copy, did you get a note saying do not show anything? Not necessarily do not show, just we'd prefer you to not show anything before Simon's test.
Yeah.
And when I was playing the game, I was like, wow, it seems there's radically different art style in the beginning versus when you get to Simon's test and wake up in the sci-fi fantasy world. And when it's trying to do real ass life, it's much more janky. There's that scene in the subway where you're sitting around and the scale of the models for the people are like smaller than the chairs of the subway that they're sitting in.
I didn't notice that.
No, I didn't notice it either. Yeah. What was the old man saying? I didn't really.
Oh yeah,
go
that
back
never
and
really
listen
came
to
back
that.
either.
Yeah,
the old man was just like, he was just an anomaly in the story, and I guess he was just clutter. He was environmental clutter.
Because in the beginning, you're like, oh, okay, this is not just a little indie horror game. Okay, there's real life to this. And the voice acting is surprisingly well done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not like, like Allison Road is the example I always bring up. But Allison Road, where you see he was walking around talking to himself, and it just didn't really sound right. It was okay. It wasn't bad, but it just didn't really sound right.
Yeah.
Because it was directing the player to whatever he needed to get. He needed to go to the bathroom in Allison or whatever. But in this one, for some reason, it just sounded natural. I can't say I was disappointed with any bit of the voice acting. Am I wrong in saying that?
No, I thought the voice acting was really good. I mean, especially coming from like Amnesia into this. Like Amnesia was okay,
right?
But
was it that though? Was it because our expectations were so low? That's why the voice acting is so good. For me, I thought it was like fantastic. The voice acting between the two main, I guess, characters.
Nothing really bad about it sticks out. I remember some good moments, but not any bad moments thinking back on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it was.
So it was
fine.
decent to you guys more than it was. It made the game. For me, it made the game for me.
I don't want to say it made the game for me, but I think that really bad voice acting, or even just slightly bad voice acting, would have shattered the illusion entirely.
Well,
and the fact that illusion was never shattered for me, that I was in like hook, line, and sinker right to the end. I think that it probably is a great sign that it was really good voice acting.
It's funny that most of the voice acting you get from Catherine was her name, right?
Mm-hmm.
She deliberately sounds kind of naive and childlike because that's part of her character, but that's also part of an alternate version of the real person that just kind of copied over her more childish and naive half.
Man.
And in the beginning I was like, this voice acting, everyone seems a little calm for the kind of situation that they're in. And as it went on, it was like, oh, they actually explain why. Oh, which actually does bring up one thing that weirded me out about the voice acting, and that is our main character. He had, like, in my review, I called it Jason Brody syndrome. And it's where he'll say something really, really, like, dumb and kind of clueless or ignorant that would be cute if he wasn't in some horrible, nightmarish video game situation. Because the whole idea is that he wakes up 100 years in the future, right? And once he hears about that, he's strangely okay with it. Like, he doesn't really want to know what happened to his family or to, like, the history and politics of the world in the past 100 years. He's just like, okay, how can I get off this crazy video game research station I'm in? And the solution is, like, completely wacky and off the wall, like blast digitized copies of humanity into space. And the whole time he's just like, okay, I guess. And at the very end, when he's latching onto the controls and firing it off, he's like, "Woohoo, yeah!" He actually says, "Fuck yeah!" And I'm like, "Ooh, I don't know if this is supposed to be a character I like or not," because then the girl Catherine is like, "Dude, calm the fuck down."
I don't know if that really hit me, which is weird.
Really?
It didn't really hit me at all. It's one of those things where I felt like he was in shock the whole time, and I, the player, was wondering, like, this is fake, right? Like, I'm expecting it to revert and, like, oh, this is all a dream or some BS like that. But then eventually you realize, like, oh,
game,
this is for real. Like, oh, this is the story. And I'm like, oh.
Because in the beginning, he works in a bookstore and is writing a novel, and you're like, oh, it's probably just some crazy novel he's writing or dream he's waking up in. And it also, because it intros in real life, I kept thinking it would go back, and that's something that they were like playing with. I feel like they were making a conscious effort to make you look for twists that weren't coming, while also being really obvious about other twists that were coming.
Yeah, there was a lot of them playing with there was a point where, like, just before you get frozen or just before you get your mind scanned, they were saying, like, we're going to do this because we want to build a synthesis or a synthetic test for you that might actually strengthen your mind, and it might actually make you feel better and live longer, etc., etc. And you kind of think to yourself, yeah, maybe this whole thing that I'm playing in Soma is just this test, and then at the end of it, I'm going to go back and I'm going to, my character, Jason Brody, is going to live for another 5 years or something like that.
Which would be the easy way out, and they didn't take it.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't, too, because in my review, I had said that the game scared me more than Amnesia, which is true. It did. And I think it is because the game isn't like, rah, monsters, horror, like dark corridors, rah. It was more of an existential type of horror. The horror existed within the story and not so much the environment and the creatures that are chasing you. And that sticks with me personally longer than just the guy in the mask jumping around the corner going boo at me.
See, I love this because everyone has their own, like, way they experience the game. For me, I wasn't really scared. Other than I was more scared of the punishment of those damn stupid broken monsters. They have like 3 sections or 4 sections where they have the regular classic, ring around the rosy monster chasing you thing, while you're trying to get to an exit. And I hate it. I just don't like it. It's fine, but there was problems with at least this one. It doesn't wear out its welcome, which is fine, but there's problems where they stay where you need to go. Yeah. And that was the biggest issue. It's just like it knows that I'm waiting for it to move out the way, and it stays there for about 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay, so you had to bait the monster out. And that was annoying. But the only parts, I was scared of them catching me because it was going to mess up my screen. Because every time you get hit in this game, your screen starts wiggling and you start running slowly, and then you got to stick your hand in the little juicy hole, and which I don't know if it actually changes the game, because sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. This game was weird like that. Like, everything was just so weird. Like, hold up, what am I doing? It's this uncertainty of every decision you make.
You didn't know if, like, your little choices or if your big choices were having any effect, or, like, sometimes it seemed like they were having an instant effect.
And I think that was great, even though, because they're an indie game, they're not gonna have like 20 billion endings, but they're gonna make you think. They change a little bit of dialogue here, a little bit. It turns off the lights here. Like, oh, did I do something? Did I change something? Probably not, but still.
I replayed one of the sections very briefly, and it was the one at the end where they give you like a really, it looks like it's going to be a binary video game story choice, and it turns out it's really not. It's just kind of a the choice is that we know you have no choices. It's like BioShock or something, which I don't know. I wasn't really like expecting it to go either way, and I'm satisfied with what we got either way, but the story doesn't change depending on if you if you stick your finger in the last butthole or not, or if you turn off lung lady's lung or not.
People just die. Like poor Carl. People on my stream were just like, you killed Carl. I can't believe you killed Carl. You're a murderer. All because I stick my hand in the little juicy hole. You know, it's just like, because there's a lever, and then there's the healing thing. All right, by the way, for people who don't know, obviously, if you're listening to this, you probably played the game. But if you didn't, and you just like spoilers, sometimes when you stick your hand in a hole, it heals you. Well, it always heals you, but sometimes something happens. This time, the power shuts off. And it's right next to the lever that you have to turn as well. I don't know that there was a complicated way to help Carl. I think I don't even know. Was it? Did you guys ever do that?
I killed Carl too.
The thing
I
is,
killed him by
you
accident.
kill Carl. You can't not kill Carl. You either pull the lever upstairs, which I think involves sticking your finger in one of the first buttholes, and that turns off his conveyor belt and his power. Or you can switch the lever downstairs right in front of him, in which case you'll see the shock and he'll be like, wow, and you'll be like, oh, I should probably pull the lever back. And if you do that, though, then you don't have to sneak around the big bulbous monster. But if you pull the lever upstairs, which it sounds like all three of us did the first time, then you do have to sneak around that monster a bit. Because it also opens up the door to where he was, as well as to where you need to go. So it's like you kill him either way. The method just depends on how safe you are in the process.
Did you stick your hand in the hole first or the lever first? Because I feel like I stick my hand in the hole and then the power shut off and the lever just didn't work. Or
I don't know.
Am I wrong?
I don't know
that?
if the butthole turns off the power. I think it's just the lever. Because the buttholes never really do anything until the very last one, if I'm remembering it correctly.
They do like little environmental changes. Like sometimes they would like blow out lights or like shift some, shift some stuff around where you're standing. But I don't know. Like I want to replay through it now and see if
Right. If it did it, because I'm confused with that one. I don't know if I actually switched off the lever. Because what happened was, I never got hit in the first half of the game, so I didn't know what the little holes did. So I was so confused because all he did was like he sticks his hand in and he's like, "I feel better now," and I'm like, "What the hell is this? What do you mean you feel better now? I'm thinking
androids finger electric buttholes?
Yeah, I'm thinking that he's talking about like, oh, my head feels better, right? Because he went in for his head, and I'm thinking. Because I don't know where the story is going. I'm still thinking like, oh, this is like, I didn't know it was gonna turn really good. I thought it was just this classic. Oh, this is an excuse to be on a horror ship thing and whatever. And I'm still have that mind until that part where you finally meet up with Catherine and you start talking, and then from then on, I was like, okay. I'm going along with this, and I actually started to enjoy it a lot more. Even though, of course, the freaky monster bits were where you accidentally kill them over and over and over again. That those parts were brutal. Did you guys feel bad about that? About killing Carl and all those other?
At first, I did, but in the end, I don't. And I had point of view swaps like 2 times during the game. Like for Carl, I felt bad at first when I killed him, but in the end I didn't like feel bad anymore because at the very end you realize after you launch the arc into space, you realize that Jason Brody is stuck in the bottom of the sea with Catherine shut off, and he's basically just alone. And not only is he alone, but he's alone in like the worst possible place. To even get back to like the old stations where he was in, he would have to like walk through hell basically. So here you've got what's his name? Simon?
Yeah.
Okay, so Simon's stuck.
Simon is Jason Brody.
Simon is Jason Brody. I kind of like calling him Jason Brody better. So Simon is stuck, and it's like it's almost like a Greek god punishment kind of stuck. He's not just he is forever there. He can't turn off until I guess his batteries turn off. And do his batteries ever turn off? That's something we don't know.
Another thing I want to know. I wasn't really super scared by it. I think I'm like with Matt here in this one. It's like less scary to me so much as it was like delicious mindfuck fuel. And I guess it like depends on how much of a nightmare fuel you consider the situation of a digitized prison to be. Because, I mean, he could go on adventures all across the bottom of the sea, and he has all the air supply he needs to do it. I don't know how long his battery would last, but he could still just like fop around down there and go on a wild, wacky adventure. But if we played it as actual Jason Brody, who got the brain scan and went home, he would just kind of lie in bed for 2 months and die, and not go on this crazy, wacky underwater adventure. So
well,
it's like,
that's kind of that. You know, like you said, he goes off on this wacky adventure. That's also why I don't feel bad for kind of turning off Carl in the end, because Carl can't go on that wacky adventure. He's stuck permanently on. We know that they can't sleep. He's literally just stuck there on the conveyor belt, staring at the same wall for however long eternity is for him. You know, with nobody else really to talk to. There's no other humans to help him. He's
what
just
about the
stuck.
Human woman? What did you do with her then? Did
I
you
killed her
off?
too. Oh yeah.
really?
Yes.
What? Why?
Dude, she's stuck there in the chair all day.
Yeah,
No video
so
games.
She's still alive. She's
No
still
other person to talk to.
No other
aware of
humans. She was
herself.
literally the last human alive on the planet.
Yeah, why would you throw that away?
What do you mean she's gonna die? Just sitting there. She couldn't even kill herself.
Let her go out the way she wants to go out.
But, well, she didn't.
Dude, all right. What you missed? You missed a really good moment. All right, you turn her off, and she says, will you wait with me?" And she goes on and talks, and it was great. I actually walked away the first time. I grabbed the what do you call that?
The Ark.
thing? The Ark. It's always appropriately named the Ark, isn't it? I grabbed the Ark and actually put it all the way back in the the submarine thing, and people were like, "Nah, go back, kill her. What are you doing? You're so wrong." And I'm like, "What do you mean I'm wrong? I don't want to kill someone. I already killed Carl and all these other little monstrosities." And so I went back and I was like, all right, I wouldn't want to be trapped in this chair. And when you do it, it's like one of the most touching moments, man. You missed out, dude. Like it's actually pretty sweet. It wasn't brutal like she was just like, ugh, and then she just coughs up blood or something.
What are you waiting for? Just go back and kill that innocent woman.
Yeah.
But okay,
Yeah.
The whole debate like brings up another one of the really interesting questions that this game's really well made sci-fi tackles, and that is, how much more important is the conscious existence of being human? How much more important is that than the physiological existence of being a mushy bipedal mass of cells that all work together versus actually thinking and knowing that you are human? And I feel like your own personal morals about incredibly weird abstract philosophical topics like that are gonna influence whether or not you do that. Like me, there's no way in hell I would kill the last human on Earth even if they wanted it and were bedridden and sick, cause I for my own sense of value and moral compass see a whole lot of purposehood just from existing.
I can see that
so
point
there
of view.
you go, you monsters.
But I killed her. I totally did. And the other thing is like
So brutal.
the other thing is
Your
that
life
kind of
is all you have.
sure, but the alternative would be to like if well maybe not for her but for Carl and for Simon, I literally almost called him Jason Brody again, is to slowly go insane, like one of the insane robots that are walking around on the bottom of the ocean who think they continually have this job, and and they're speaking as though other people are actually
go on
there.
Adventures.
Or go on adventures, or get infected by the WoW or the WA system or whatever it is, and then become one of those crazy ass chicken nugget monsters.
Yeah, you don't want to be a chicken nugget monster though. No matter what kind of adventures you go on, if you become a chicken monster, I'm pulling the plug. A chicken nugget monster, not a chicken monster. That would be different.
I think they hit it home when it came down to that midway point, and the ending. It kind of synced up very well, where you copied yourself into the suit, and Simon got some words off before Catherine cut him off, the other Simon, and I was just like, oh snap. He's like, what is that? What was that? And it was just that moment right there was just It was brutal. It was
and
brutal,
also-
and he just didn't want to believe it. You remember how you were saying like he just, he's acts clueless and dumb, and it's because that's just him. He just doesn't want to believe it. He's still in a state of shock, and at the end you see him just go nuts. He's just like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, Catherine's like, "Are you an idiot? Are you an idiot? Of course, this is how this works. It's because that's who he is, and he just doesn't want to believe the world he's in, and that's the way I took it. That's why it didn't really bother me that he didn't really like, oh, so who won the election, or like
she calls it a coin flip, when in reality it's not really a coin flip at all. So much as once you copy your ghost onto a machine, there is another machine of you that wakes up in the middle of a whole new body and doesn't know how they got there, just like Simon number 2. Whereas it's like we've been switching these perspectives not because it's an actual coin flip and there's a random chance. It's rather just because the game switches to whichever perspective is more interesting to be seeing the rest of Simon's life from. Simon 1, who has the machine go off of his head and then just goes to bed and dies from brain injuries 2 months later. That's not that interesting. And Simon number 2, who gets trapped in the lab after creating another Simon number 3, he doesn't have an interesting perspective to see anymore. So they like completely throw away his whole experience of existence. And like that's what's great about the way this game does horror. It's like it's a nightmare fuel kind of situation to be thinking about.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the game, they completely toss that whole pattern out of the way, and that's what's so shocking about it, because you expect to be waking up as Simon number 4, but instead you get to see Simon number 3's last moments of not really knowing what's happening to the new version of him that he makes. We don't get flipped over to the more advantageous situation until after the end of the credits, which I thought was also a pretty great way to include both the good endings and the bad endings in a way that's yeah.
No, I was gonna ask you, did you realize at the end that the girl, like, was she modeled correctly? On my screen she looked like pale white, like a mannequin. Was it the same for you guys, or did you guys even realize?
She was pretty pale white, but they
didn't never really look good in this game.
Yeah, I mean
Right,
they didn't. Yeah, they didn't do human models that great, which is fine because the robot models looked great. Chicken nugget monsters looked good.
Chicken nugget.
But
yeah,
regular, ordinary people, they just Like the last human on Earth looks like an early poser model project.
Poser 3, baby.
A template from Unity, right? I there's also a couple other parts that were pretty good. Because they always build up to this and they make you feel all the different situations that could happen, and then they touched on bringing up a simulation of that guy.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
And I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, it just makes you feel so icky in each section of the game. Like, there's always some story piece in that area that makes you just like,
Are you talking about the part where you have to fool a simulation of a guy who doesn't know he's a simulation so that he'll give you the code to open the next door?
Yeah.
That's like one of the best video game puzzles ever.
Yeah.
There's a really long blog post about it on the Astronauts blog, who also really like lavishes over this game and thinks it's one of the best ever. But I don't know about that. I do think this is one of the best video game puzzles ever, though. And that is because, like he explains in this blog, every element that you have to do in this puzzle also relates to the layers of the world building. Like, you're not doing it for a completely arbitrary reason. There's a block in your path that makes sense in the world. The pieces of the puzzle make sense in the world, and the ways you interact and put them all together make sense in the world. And it also provides one of the game's more terrifying intellectual scares.
Yeah.
It doesn't really do the whole jump scare thing so much as it does the, hey, wouldn't this situation be really terrifying? Don't you feel kind of terrifying about this thing you accidentally didn't know you did? Oh, what about when you have to knowingly do it?
Yeah. Yeah, there was so many moments where you were icky, like you were saying, but you didn't know it was icky until later.
Yeah.
You know,
that
and you're
whole
like,
while
oh.
when you're like finding copies of his girlfriend's voice to
Oh,
trick
yeah.
him, you're like, ugh.
Oh,
You're it's the lie of the
Dirty.
century, and it's also the only way to get from A to B.
did you? Yeah, and they force you. They force you to do those things, just like when they force you to shock the. All right, so when you go inside that area, and then there's this little robot that's floating around, constantly talking.
Yes.
Remember that? And you have
Uh-huh.
to do the whole satellite thing to call the Zeppelin down.
Yeah.
Right. But you need this like little gadget to call it down. You have to kill the little robot that's been talking, like very nice robot. He doesn't talk to you, but he's like on his own little mind, and you have to zap him.
There's
and kill
two
him.
robots you could kill though.
Yeah.
You could.
You could-
I think you could have killed like the little
The one
kid,
that
what's
was-
essentially like a puppy robot.
Right.
You can kill
Right,
the
and
automated
I-
machine or the one that has a real person copied inside of it.
I killed the
Yeah,
one.
I
with
killed the
worm.
one with the real person inside of it
Yeah.
because they
Yeah,
were
it was-
crazy
it is
and they didn't
helpful.
help me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And
I
it was
love-
brutal. It was
I-
brutal.
I love how
Oh.
Catherine uses the term artificial intelligence to refer to robots whose AIs are based off of copies of real people's brain scans, because then it's like, oh, does that count as AI? I don't know, because like technically it is an artificial person, but it's also a fairly realistic and convincing copy of a real person. So then you can justify that whole puzzle where you're tricking the guy into giving the girlfriend the code by just saying, "Oh no, we were just running some parameters through an AI program we were plugging new variables into an algorithm." And oh, I love that.
I love when Catherine actually asks, or she says something along the lines, and I wish I wrote it down when I was playing it, but she says something along the lines of, "It's no different than putting down a dog," and he was like, "I never kill a dog," you know, and it's right in that moment where you had to like choose which of the two robots to kill to bring the Zeppelin down, but yeah.
Maybe in the past 100 years, the people started valuing life much less or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. Like,
Overpopulation is going to be a real problem. Maybe paradigm shifts are gonna occur to account for that.
yeah, maybe that is a thing. Like maybe that's a part of that world because maybe artificial intelligence by zapping your brain into a robot body isn't that abnormal, and maybe they did put them down regularly. Just added a layer to the onion there, gentlemen.
I mean, when you read the little logs there, it tells people like just zapping themselves in and killing themselves.
Yeah.
So their soul will go in, or blah blah blah, like as they were saying, and it was like passed off like regular, like it wasn't as devastating as we're like, man, so people are killing themselves and zapping themselves inside of the ark, like that's terrible. But they're like, oh, we're restricting you, blah blah blah. We're restricting you, Catherine, for this. It wasn't like an actual punishment for these things happening, and it was just so it's just like what? So yeah, maybe it was just normal to just zap yourself in, because I mean, obviously, I did they give a number of how many people were in the ark?
It was a lot. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it was a good number of people. It was like a lot. Like 5 at least.
Wait, is 5 a lot?
No,
I thought
no.
it was just the staff of the underground research facilities, which would have been like 40 or something.
No,
Oh,
I
it
thought that
was
they had a
only that?
record of people
Oh.
like, but while they were going down, I thought Catherine had started the research before that she went down into
Yeah,
Pathos 2.
there's way more people in there. There's
Yeah,
way
Which
more
is why
people.
Simon would be on there, isn't it?
Yes.
So okay, that
I wonder if there's
also.
So
two
Simon
copies of
Simon was the template code for basically all humans, and then they
Yeah.
just basically altered Simon's code to be other humans, right? Isn't that the way it kind of worked? Or he was like just the template file for the computers to run artificial simulations?
From what I heard, it was the template for just to run it in the
Okay.
beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
And he was used to what happened? What happened, George?
The whole concept is just terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't like scared while playing the game, but thinking about the stuff is like, ugh.
That's why I said that it was scarier for me. Like when I turned off the game and I went to bed, I kept like if I play a horror game before I go to bed, I try to do something. I'll watch like a cartoon or I'll go do something so I'm not like having a horrible nightmare. But that night I kept thinking, Simon's at the bottom of the ocean and there's nothing I could do about it. Simon's still at the bottom of the ocean and there's nothing I could do about it. And even before I'm doing this, I'm like, my Simon is still at the bottom of the ocean and there's nothing I can do about it. It's been 2 weeks since I played the game and he's still down there. You know?
I just like can't stand their solution to save the world because it's so hopeless and pathetic. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's probably the best hope they got. Is to make digital copies of themselves loaded onto a flash drive that they shoot out into outer space, and then just like hope that thousands, if not millions of years, they don't even say it because it's so unlikely, that maybe some other intelligent life might discover this floating flash drive of the last digital versions of humanity.
Another question: did you leave your Simon to alive, or did you kill him?
Wait, what do you mean?
Oh, I killed him. When you copied him the first time and he was just kind of like in the chair and you were suiting up into the new body.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't kill him.
I killed him.
Why
didn't
did
kill
you
him.
do that?
I didn't kill him. I was like, maybe he could understand, but seeing the end of
He
the game,
could go on
he did
adventures.
not
You know, I wish,
understand.
now that I'm thinking about it, I wish I didn't kill him, because then the two Simons at the end, if they were both alive, they could hang out.
You
They
see
could,
what I'm
like,
saying?
They
They
could
could create like a
talk about
Simon's
how
club.
shitty Catherine is.
Yeah.
They could start a Simon fan club.
No
Oh
Catherine
my
club.
gosh.
They could sit
Wow.
around and just bitch about how much they hate Catherine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I killed him, and the reason why I killed him was because whenever I play games like that, I always pick the choice that I wouldn't do, like the one that I personally wouldn't do.
Oh gosh, how was The Witcher 3 for you?
Hard, really hard, but so interesting. It's really, really interesting when you force yourself to make the choice that you don't want to make.
Wow, interesting. I don't know if I have the balls.
Do it. Yeah, it's really, really interesting when you force yourself to make the choices that you don't want to make.
Right.
You know?
You like
Dude, try it
feeling icky.
sometime.
You like
It
feeling
does.
icky.
You feel icky.
Well, The
but
Witcher
it's-
3, it's better because there's actual multiple choices that are not just like, oh, this is good and this is bad.
Right.
It's more like gray area everywhere.
Yeah.
Making you feel icky for everything you pick.
Gray, dirty gray areas everywhere.
Yeah. Real
You
dirty.
know what part of the game I felt? Did you guys do the survey? Like you could walk up
Yeah.
to the computers and did you do the survey both times?
I didn't know there was
Yeah,
two.
they give you a few opportunities to. One's at the very end.
Yes. Did you
And
answer
then-
differently in the end versus the
A
way you
little,
did?
a little.
Did you? I answered totally differently. The first time I went around, I was like, "This feels false, and I'm not human, blah blah blah, and I'm ungrateful for where I am." And then in the end, I'm like, "This is amazing! I'm alive, and I feel good." And you know, I had a total mood change about it all. I felt bitter when I was playing in the beginning. You know, I knew something was awry.
And that's kind of why I like the game so much. Am I the only one that liked the game so much? I mean, yes, it's not perfect, but I think it's probably one of the best games I've played this year.
Mm-hmm.
Just
I thought
the
it
fact
was
on
fine.
oh
I just,
gosh,
I don't
cynical
know.
George,
I
the cynical American,
Kinda
number one cynical
want
American. In the
my
US.
my traditional inventory management tank control horror game, and I know that's not what this is, and it's fine that it's not it, and I'm sure I'm gonna play Fatal Frame at the end of the month and be happy, but I just kind of wish, like, if they're gonna have these scenes with monsters chasing you through hallways and an actual like AI that you have to play with, like, either take them out or make them good.
Or,
Because
that was
right,
the
right
problem.
now
A lot
they kind of
less.
exist in this wishy-washy middle area where
Yeah.
where there's either not enough mechanics to the gameplay to make those scenes worth it, but also what is there just isn't very well made or polished enough to really make them enjoyable or to elicit the kind of emotions they really wanted you to.
I thought the gameplay was really just janky. Not janky, it just wasn't well done. Like, I hate monster chase stuff. I think it's just getting really old. There are certain sections where I just didn't know where to go. Did you guys ever had that feeling?
Not often.
Not.
I
Maybe
don't
like
think I
once
got
or
searched
twice.
more than I wasn't supposed to.
What? Say again?
I only think I got as lost as I was supposed to.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
that's
think-
only me then.
Like once or twice I got stuck, and I think it was there was a part where if you so much as make a sound, one of the monsters were going to come around, and your choice was you had to find the security code to open up the door to get into the security room, or you could throw stuff at the glass window and break it and go in. And I could not find that security code for the life of me, so I had to like try over and over and over and over again to like throw what were like paperweights at the window until it eventually broke and like kind of snuck my way in.
That's the one that I remember the best, because I think that's the one where I strangely enough did have the most fun playing with the monster, but that was because I was seeing the zipper on its costume a whole lot. In my review, I feel bad about including this clip, but I did include a clip where I spotted the monster despawning through a window.
Oh,
Once
wow, really?
he moves around a corner that you're not supposed to see, the monster just flat out disappears. And you don't know that because you can't see it happening. Unless you hide in a room where you can watch the monster patrol around the room through windows. Apparently, they didn't account for the monster's sight lines to extend through windows, because you can watch this thing zap in and out of existence through windows.
Oh, that's funny.
Also, if you remember in Amnesia, which was also hide-and-seek monster chase gameplay, which I was totally fine with, because they gave you a lot of options to work your way around these monsters with, rather than just one or two options per area, because they often included using physics objects or doorways to block their paths. So I was getting ideas like that with this one. I started scattering physics objects around in the hallways, and this thing would just like clip through them or slap them out of the way without really being animated to. And there was also one point where he was chasing me, and I ran behind a door and pressed the closed door button, and without pressing anything, the door would just open up, and then I would just close it again, and the two of us would just be pressing buttons on both sides of this door, opening and closing it forever. And there was no way out of it besides to kill myself, because
Your
it wasn't
robot
going to
self
go
was
away
stuck in a
because
loop.
me pressing, I had my robot AI version of Jason Brody stuck in an infinite loop. And it's like, how bad do you want to survive? You're just a robot. You're nothing. They can just copy paste another one of you in another robot. So how long are you going to keep pressing this button and try to hold on to your last fleeting moments of humanity when it's hopeless?
And what happens when they catch you? Like, what's the purpose? Why are they attacking you? Because it
it's
seems
so
like you
weird.
get hit, and then you wake up with
And they
being
disappear.
damaged.
You wake up
They
like
smack you, but the second time you
meters
die,
out
and
of
you
the
have to
way.
restart.
Oh,
I don't know. Did you ever die? I died a
No.
few times.
I've
There
never
was that
died.
one teleporting monster in the in the sunken ship in the beginning. I just like couldn't figure out an elegant way past them. I had to brute force my way past that guy.
What, the sunken ship? You mean the guy who has like the lights on his head, like
Yeah,
Christmas
and
lights?
he teleports.
You
he
just
plays
you just
by-
don't look at him. You literally just don't look at him.
Well, what?
You just
okay.
You just go like this, and he's like right behind you. You just that's it.
There
That's all you
are
have to
two
do.
routes through this place. This is why I don't like this game as much as Amnesia, because I feel like in Amnesia there would be 3 routes, and you could block this monster and squeeze him in one place and make an exploit out of that. There are 2 routes through this ship, and one is through a window that you have to crouch jump through. The other is a hallway that you can just straight up walk through, and that means that with only 2 routes and not a lot of space to move, this monster is likely going to be in the way of one of those routes. And so you don't look at him, which means you don't look at the other route. But what if it's a corridor, and at the very end he starts teleporting towards the only direction you can go, and it's like, what if you need to walk into him?
You do.
There's
you just don't look at him, and you just back.
So you can
yourself
walk
up,
into him
back
as
that
long as you
behind him.
don't look at him. You're good.
Yeah, that's
Huh.
all you had
I
to
think
do.
that's cheap.
I thought he was
I
the
don't like that.
easiest. I was like,
He
good.
killed me so many times, I guess because I'm bad.
No,
Yeah,
she
like,
says
I'm not willing
don't
to test
look at
those
him.
rules. Yeah, she says that, but she also says stay away.
Yeah,
But
it gets really throbby, but I just don't look at him. I got caught in a corner,
if
and all
it
I
gets
did was I just
throbbier
put myself
as
in
I move
timeout.
closer to your monster, I'm gonna want to move away from your monster. You see, I wasn't even willing to test that. Because I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, and then I died so many times because I just kept trying to rush through the tiny little corridor that this monster was he was the fun goalie. He was blocking your fun.
There was a new monster type that not a
Yeah.
lot of people were talking about. That were basically like the witches from like
Yeah.
Left 4 Dead. Like if
Yeah.
you move too quickly, or they would just be like, "Rah!" and start going after you.
Which ones were those?
I'm pretty
The one
sure
that
they
was
were.
screaming and crying. She was like,
Yeah, they were screaming and crying, and like if you just
Oh.
moved too quickly or too much, they would like rush you.
I only remember one of those.
yeah, it was just one.
There was one, but then there was a duplicate of it that you couldn't avoid. Like it was like almost like a quick time event sequence where you had to like run down the hallway to escape it, and then like shut
yeah.
the door behind you. Like
Right.
if you thought to yourself, all right, I'm just gonna stop right here, and she's gonna stop chasing me, that didn't matter. Like at that point, it was gonna kill you regardless. You had to run at that point.
I wish they replaced some of the fried chicken nuggets monsters with some of those different type of monsters.
Yeah.
That would have made the game a lot better to play.
I think so
Because-
too, and I think it would have settled in a little bit more. They would have been less chicken nugget monsters and more like tormented humans. Then, like in the end, when you realize what they are, you would have felt empathy for them. You know,
Yeah.
they're monsters. Yeah, they want to smack your face off of your face, but they're still people. You know, just
And the witch really brought that to light. The chicken nugget monsters were just regular chicken nugget monsters. They were nothing. It meant nothing to me to see that. Like, you remember that the first one that looks like a turkey, like a big tumor turkey?
yes,
Yeah, like-
it has like lights on its like turkey
Like
shell.
it was
thing.
extremely stiff and it was like kind of hopping around. It was like it's just. I felt more attached to the witch monster. She was like saying like leave me alone, and she knew you
Yeah.
were there. And you were like throwing stuff at her, like, move, damn it. I'm trying to get the battery pack. And I kept throwing stuff until she chased me.
I know you're crying, but just shut up, get out of the way. Pass me the remote control.
Like, oh my God. And she was just like, ah! She just gets like really aggravated, like a sister or something. Oh my gosh. I really enjoyed those are the stuff. Man, I wish they had more stuff like that. But
Yeah.
that's why the game wasn't perfect. There's a lot of sections that was just like, And the textures, some of the textures looked really bad.
You know what's a good game to play right after you're done playing Soma is, and I did some live streaming with it over the weekend, is Alien Isolation. And to compare and contrast the two of them, there's a lot of similarities between the two, but it almost feels like if you could just get a nice crossbreed of the two of them, you would have like the perfect horror game, you know?
Sick.
Like just a really great story, but also good scares, and then not totally defenseless, but pretty much defenseless, you know?
I just feel like there's got to be some good strategies for working your way around monsters if there are going to be monsters who have good strategies for working their way to you. And Alien Isolation, even though it did, like, it still got old after a while. Like hiding and seeking.
Because it was too long, my friend.
It
for
overstays its
12
welcome.
hours at a
Too
time.
long. And the monster keeps popping in and out.
Yeah.
You remember that sound? I know we all remember that sound of a vent dropping a load. Everyone remembers that sound. Okay? All right, that was the most, oh my gosh. Especially like you're hiding and you're like, okay, it's time to come out.
And you know, I really want to look at the alien when it does come out of the vents, because it's animated beautifully when it does.
Yes.
He like does a backflip somersault, slithering out, like contorting its body out of a tight hole like a snail or something.
Yeah.
And it makes your character go, which summons him towards you. And you know, after a while, if you ever press the sprint button through much of the game, it'll just summon the alien towards you. And you're like, sometimes you just want to sprint.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't want to put up with that bullshit. You need some
You're just
breathing
crouching
room.
the whole time.
And,
Yeah.
Just
and
crouching the whole time.
you're safe if you crouch, but that just means that you crouch for the whole game, because there's like it's like a weird permanent on-off state for quiet, safe time. If you
Yes.
crouch and go slow, you're permanently safe. There's nothing you got to worry about, except for the very rare scripted encounters with the alien. But if you sprint, you're going to summon the alien and die, even though the button's always there on your keyboard.
Now compare that with Soma, where like they have those moments where if you sprint you're gonna die, but they don't always have them. They're spaced out, so you do have that breathing room where you can explore without needing to worry about having your face munched off. You know, you can read through the diaries and all this kind of stuff with a little bit of ease.
A lot better, and it's also 8 hours long, so
yeah.
Also,
well, it took me 11. I was surprised when I was hearing people doing it in like 8 and 9. I'm like, oh, okay. Apparently, I'm the dummy.
I got stuck. Yeah, but it was pretty quick. I played all in one sitting.
Get out of here! Are you serious?
All in one sitting. A long 8-hour stream, my friend.
Wow.
And people were there from the beginning. I'm like, man, and people were just like, wow, this is actually pretty decent. Because I'm not much of a horror game player. I don't care for them, to be honest. And you know, I never really played through Amnesia. I played a little bit of it, like halfway through it, so I didn't know if they had voice acting in that as well. I don't know. You said
they did. It wasn't great.
It wasn't great. Okay,
no.
So it still would have been surprised, obviously. So me going into Soma, I just did like a little thing on it. And I'm like, okay, it looks like it might be like the same old chase around, but was pleasantly surprised that it was actually a pretty decent game, like
so wait,
on a budget.
Did you say you didn't play Amnesia?
I played
really?
like a little bit of it. Yeah.
No, you should like give it a shot. I mean, if anything else, because that's like the definitive example of 2010's version of horror games.
I'm not in mood to walking around being chased, going backtracking, reading letters. I'm just not in the mood for that.
Well, that's what you do in horror games.
Yeah, and that's why I don't like them. I like stuff like Alien Isolation, even though that
How do you not do that in Alien Isolation?
You don't do it. It's done so much better. It makes sense. And in Amnesia, it's just like dark corridors all the time, and there's no voice acting. I have to sit there and read letters all day long.
No,
letters.
You have voice acting.
By the way, apparently we are living our lives just totally incorrectly by not leaving random letters around everywhere our house.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Amnesia takes place in like 1820 something, where people used to write letters all the time. And you don't backtrack. You do less backtracking in Amnesia than you do in Alien Isolation, where you keep having to go back to medical for whatever reason. I have those goddamn medical corridors memorized. Amnesia, The Dark Descent, is structured like Mario 64, okay? There are blog posts about this. For some reason, these companies who make first-person horror games have really great blogs. But you go to a new hub level, a new hub room, actually, where you have about 3 mini branching levels that you make a run to the end of them and then come back to put a new puzzle piece in the middle of a hub level. And like, it is paced well. It goes along at a nice pace. They don't really deviate from an effective formula until the end. I mean, I could understand you tuning out after like the 8th or 9th hour, but up until then, it's like pretty damn good stuff. Like, I would consider it one of the best horror games. Like the that and the Penumbra games are a franchise that's just about as fun to go through as the early Resident Evils. I mean, they're much less polished and endearing, but like that's still like a good quality example of traditional good old classic inventory management horror.
Maybe do it as like your Halloween show, man. Got a couple of weeks, so you can still record something.
Oh gosh, you guys are baiting me into playing
Amnesia.
I've been playing a lot of horror games because of
Amnesia's
October.
Good. I guess it gets a lot of flack because it like started the whole cottage industry of YouTubers being scared at video games, but that's like because it was good enough to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's like one can hate on Gears of War just as easily for starting a trend of like copy pasted shoulder cover shooters, but that's because it was like the good first one that gave people a reason to copy it.
No one copied it but the color scheme. Like no one has made a good Gears of War clone ever. Like, that's so sad. I find that so sad.
The shoulder high cover shooter games. There was Army of Two
there
was
were a
shoulder
lot
high
of
cover
those.
shooter.
They are not the
Uncharted,
same.
Shoulder high cover
Uncharted,
shooter.
Spec Ops, Tomb Raider.
They are all different games entirely. Entirely.
Barely. Oh yeah, they're different. Guns do different amounts of damage.
How I oh my gosh, I've played both Army of Twos.
Space Marine?
I played
Or,
Uncharted.
Warhammer Space Marine? Was that a cover shooter? I don't remember.
I remember that. Did anyone play
Max
much of that?
Payne 3 is way too close to Gears of War than it is the first two Max Paynes.
Oh, because it was a third person cover shooter doesn't mean it's Gears of War. There's a certain magic to
The
Gears.
sticky cover system, like you had Gears of War and Rainbow Six Vegas come out in 2006, and that started a lot
Nothing
of
feels as
mechanics
good.
that soon became dominant.
Nothing feels as good. It's so sad.
Well,
that
that's what I'm
nothing feels
saying.
as good.
This is why you should give Amnesia a chance.
The
'cause
first
nothing
one.
feels as good.
Before
The
you know what
Holy
you should do.
Grail.
The reason why you should do it now is because next year and every year after this, the game is going to look worse and worse. And every time you try to fire it up, you're going to be like, man, this game looks old. And you're not going to want to do it.
Surprised Amnesia holds up visually. I don't know. I should go back and play it. But last year, I did Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs. And I was like, wow, everything looks green. The textures are kind of blurry. There's a lot of fog and little visibility. I then loaded up Amnesia: The Dark Descent and was like, wow, why does this game from 2010 still look better than its own sequels? I mean, it definitely won't look as good as Soma, but it looks better than Machine for Pigs. But then again, a lot of things do.
Yeah. I Let's Played that with a friend, and
I can understand why Machine for Pigs might turn you off of the first one, but they're totally different.
They
yeah,
are.
I've heard.
They are.
Yeah.
How are you? What did you guys think of the game's setting, by the way, at the bottom of the sea? Like, apparently there was like a, I don't want to say a last minute addition for them, but it wasn't like something
Really?
that they planned to set out and do. Like, I think that was.
You can kind of feel it because much of the game is like metallic doom corridors. And I was talking earlier about how I wasn't really scared. That's a lie, because there is that part in the end where you have to go through the fucking abyss.
Oh yeah.
Where you just follow these lights poking out of the fog with completely open.
Oh yeah.
And I have never felt that vulnerable before.
Dude, that monster.
Since being a kid lost in the woods.
Because right in the beginning, like hours before, you see these little sharks being turned into like mutated monsters. You saw those pictures, and I'm like, I'm just waiting.
And
every
they
time I
foreshadow
go in the
it.
sea, I'm waiting for the shark. I'm just waiting for it to appear.
You're waiting for it to bash
It
its
was-
face on the glass or something
Yeah.
somewhere.
It was the squid. Like, that was the money shot I was waiting for, and I was pretty happy with what they gave me.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, there was a moment when I say I wasn't scared. It was most of the time I wasn't really scared. Basically, 80% of the way, I wasn't scared at all. But there was these moments that were just so well done. When you're in that deep water and you're going towards the lights, I was like, guys, you know that fish where it has a little glowing little thing?
Yeah.
They're
The
totally
angler?
gonna pull that off. They're doing it on purpose, guys. I swear it's gonna happen. And like near the end, you see a light and you start going towards it, and all of a sudden you see this mouth coming out like, no.
Yeah, I felt like such a huge idiot. I was like, oh, I am literally like a dumb fish falling for this other dumb fish's bait.
These guys, they did some things really, really well.
Yeah.
Really well. That it just doesn't happen very often. Sometimes when you play through all the crap that's been coming out. But man, this year has been fantastic.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
This brings up a very important question that I feel we need to answer, and that is, how big are anglerfishes in real life? Is this something a human being at the bottom of the sea would have to worry about?
I thought that they were relatively small, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
because that's how they film them. Like, when you see, like, documentaries of them, like, doing their things at the bottom of the sea, they don't actually have a camera at the bottom of the sea. What they've done is they've captured that fish and they put it into a tank, and then they film that tank. and then
What?
Oh, you didn't
What?
know that? Oh,
You
yeah,
ruined the
dude.
illusion. No.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, like, that's part... The mythos in the game is that the Tau mutated the fish and made them big.
Right.
But in
right.
real life,
So,
like, all those terrifying deep-sea fish are really tiny, right?
I think it just blew
Can
Matt's
we
world,
rest
though, by
easy?
telling him how, like, those documentaries are
No.
filmed.
No. Don't tell me they do the same thing for all the other creatures on land.
I don't know, but I know for, like, deep-sea fish that they can't... I don't think they can film them, like, in their natural habitat. They capture them, and then they put them in tanks, and then they film them doing their thing in
So
tanks.
what you're telling me,
Why-
they don't do hard work. They don't go there to the sea.
I guess it's not hard
I'm sure
work
that what
now.
they do is still really, really, really hard. But could you imagine if, like, a cameraman was sitting at the bottom of the ocean waiting for an anglerfish to light up and then eat another fish? Like, literally at the bottom of the ocean. You might as well, like, be standing in the
You'd
the
have to
center of
follow
the
them
desert.
around for hours, but, that's what they pay them for.
Don't use logic, okay?
Okay.
I just want to see really cool stuff happen in real time, not in a little staged production.
It's produced.
How
man.
did they make it look like it's in? Well, I guess I mean.
Why couldn't they film it from a remote control vehicle?
A robot. I mean, they're sending robots to Mars now, so come on, like.
Isn't that how a lot of deep sea exploration and biology happens? Is from ROVs. By the way, I tried to watch The Abyss after playing Soma, and I fell asleep. And I always talk about this on the TOVG podcast, how I like don't watch movies. Like, even if they're good movies, I'm just like, I'm not. I have to really get myself in the mood.
Man, I remember this a long time ago. Holy Ed Harris, of course.
The Abyss. What did that come out? Like 93 or 92 or something?
It was early 90s. It was working off of a lot of Alien fame because it was James Cameron.
89. Wow, so we don't even break 1990. So this is heavily an 80s movie. Okay.
Well, 89 might as well have been the 90s.
Dude, the 80s
Oh my
continued until
God.
1992.
Some anglerfish can be quite large, reaching 3.3 feet or 1 meter in length. Most, however, are significantly smaller, often less than a foot. Okay, so there are a few anglerfish you don't want to mess with. Got
Yeah,
it.
still a 3-foot anglerfish. That sounds
So
like
that
it would...
means that was about the size of the one in the game. Oh God.
Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah, that thing was like half a meter big, and apparently there are anglerfish out there that are a whole meter big.
Alexander or Jason Brody's deep sea anglerfish adventures.
There's not enough deep sea horror games. Like, that's something that I feel like people are going to be capitalizing on soon, starting with Soma.
Yeah, I'm glad they went with deep sea stuff for a couple reasons. Like, if they did it in space, people would have been comparing it too much to Alien Isolation, which would have been an apt comparison. But
Also, they wouldn't have been able to have an anglerfish.
They would not have been able
and
to
a
have
giant
anglerfish.
squid, and those are great monsters that exist in real life.
yes, yeah, the fact that it was actually on the planet kind of made it scarier in a way. They weren't like there was no barrier of fiction or fantasy for you to be like, aliens aren't real,
That's like the closest you can get to actual aliens in real life.
Yes.
Are these strange things from the bottom of the oceans that just look like blobs. And if there are aliens in real life, they're just going to be some tiny little fossils of microbes on Mars that were nothing. That don't count.
Okay, one last choice that we made was: did you walk away from the guy at the end, or did you stick your hand in one last juicy hole?
Oh, the last butthole?
Oh, yeah, I thought you had to stick your hand in the butthole
you
to
don't
kill
have
the
to.
thing.
You could leave.
Oh, I totally
Yeah.
up to my elbow, baby.
Yeah, man.
I
You went deep.
replayed. That's the section I. That's the section I replayed, and just to see if something different would happen if I poked the butthole or not, and nothing different
Does
happens.
something happen? See, what was funny
No.
was like once I realized like that poke in the butthole was like it was feeding the WoW system or WA system or whatever it was. I stopped doing it. And
Yeah.
like kind of made the game harder for me because I was walking around half the game not able to see very well.
Yeah, me too.
But
And I was expecting like a System Shock Shodan thing where the WoW's some vessel representative of its AI would be like, ha ha ha, I tricked you, puny human.
Yeah.
And oh, as it turns out, that's not the case. That guy who teleports around and does spooky things is like an anti-WoW activist who wants you to bring the system down.
So if you don't fist the butthole, what happens then?
The squid worm eats him, and then the game continues on like normally.
So Squidworm is still in existence if okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that is like
of choice, man. The illusion of choice.
Yeah, no, this isn't The Witcher.
Yeah,
You make a choice and then go on with the same story.
It's very interesting how well they do it, and it makes you think that you actually have choice when really, like, it doesn't really matter. And I guess, I mean, your enjoyment is gauged by, wanting to believe that the game does have choices and doesn't, and wrap yourself inside of it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
What a neat game.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid, guys. I enjoyed myself thoroughly, my friend. Thoroughly.
Yeah.
One of the biggest surprises of this year.
You know what, though? The monitors looked like ass. 8.8.
Yeah, I saw you were complaining about the monitors. I was like, what is he complaining about the monitors
never
in this game?
even
Did you guys
it.
not notice
Neither
that?
did I
No.
until he pointed it out. I was like, what? Oh, okay.
Really? You went through the game and never said these monitors don't look great? Because, I mean,
No.
you walked around ocean floors that looked great. You walked through, like, industrial hell that looked great. But anytime you look at a monitor, it was like, eh.
Never.
And anytime you look at a human being, they also look kind of eh.
Yeah,
but I've
human beings
never,
did
like,
look
monitors are also, they shouldn't be that hard to do. Like depending on how high res you can make a little square of texture be. Like, we've all played Doom 3, right? Doom 3 had great monitors. Where you basically have, like, a high-res animation playing on your texture where light is not affecting it with another layer of like, semi-gloss over it. The monitors in this game looked kind of blurry and low-res, and when they were animated, they kind of played a slideshow, and they were also missing that nice little glossy sheen that you usually get on top of a
0 out
little,
of 10.
like just have a shader, like, scroll a white pane when you
Only
move
buy
your
it if
face.
Steam sells it at the holiday season for $1.
I'm gonna
And
tag
even
this
then
game
pirate
with-
it to
with
make sure that your
bad
computer
monitor
runs it first.
textures. I can't believe no one else noticed it.
No,
And
I
you know
really
what?
didn't.
No one has said I'm wrong. Like, I've gotten no angry comments about my monitor complaints.
I literally didn't notice it until I watched your review.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's something.
Yeah, I never
I'm
noticed
glad
that.
you
I
thought
noticed
I was
textures
right
being
about
bad,
something.
though.
Yeah, I did notice some textures being bad. You know what? Matt, I wanted to ask you this. Are you changing up the way you do your reviews now? I noticed that you were on screen a lot more for Soma. Or was that more for spoilery reasons?
It was more that I was thinking of changing up some of them so I can do more of them. See, because I do too much work when it comes on some of these reviews. I spend too long. I spend like days editing them up to try to get them all perfect and the jokes and everything. And I was just like, and then when you put it up, we're gonna get real right now. When you put it up, it doesn't get views. It doesn't get views. Your work. It's on absent eyes, okay? That no one cares that you put extra work in, all right? So I was just like, you know what? Let me do Soma. You know that Fallout 2? You know how long it took me for that? And then I put out Soma, and it's like the same views. I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah, I think the three of us are all in agreement. We all know that the more work you put into a video, the less views it's gonna get.
No one cares, okay? At the end of the day, they just want to
you
sit
do
there
it
and
a
watch
lot of
something.
No, if you do it on a hot, trendy new topic, like let's see what's trending on Twitter right now. It'll load up in a minute. Okay, Far Cry Primal, Star Wars Battlefront, conservatives. Yeah, if you work your ass off on a Battlefront video and put it out within launch week. Because really, that's like ultimately the two greatest variables. Like, is this thing on a popular topic, and does it come out during?
Well, yeah,
a time
you're just
when the
talking about
topic's most
YouTube
relevant?
now.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I don't want to do that? What if I want to just do it
Then
on
you're
anything I
not
want to?
gonna get great views.
Exactly. So what's the point? Like, what's the point? You might as well
If
tone it back a little bit.
But remember
Just
that
so you
big
can
video
continue
you
to
made
work.
about Chrono
Exactly.
Trigger? If you just waited 10 years for Temporal Trigger to come out on the PlayStation 6, I'm sure that video would have done fine. You know, and also, Matt, I'm really surprised. Like, you did retrospectives going through series up to The Witcher,
Yeah.
and for Fallout. I'm surprised you didn't do one for Metal Gear.
No. People were
Oh,
like,
really?
"Oh, why didn't you do Metal Gear?" I was like, "No."
But no, like the thing is, the Witcher games, there are two of them that you would have to play, and one of them's like a good 40-50 hour one, and the other one's 20 hours, but requires a second playthrough for the second half. So then you're looking at like 80 hours. Fallout, oh god, like the first 4 Fallouts, 1, 2, 3, and then New Vegas. Those games can go on in every one of them. But Metal Gear, up until like Peace Walker, you got like good 10-hour things you can knock out. And like in terms of reviewing a whole series, that is probably much less demanding of a series to tackle than these RPGs.
I don't think I could do it though. Like me mentally, I don't think I could do that many Metal Gears that many times in a row.
It's the story. I don't think I would be able to do it justice. Okay, there's no way I'm gonna be like, the story is this, and then
And
people
you
are
know,
like,
you got
you
one
don't really
Patriots,
know the
nano
lore."
machines, that explains everything.
If,
Yeah,
if
but
you
I
got
mean, you're gonna
one
get
thing
those
wrong, you
people
would have
anyway.
fans destroying you too. You know.
But,
It's just like doing a lore series on Dark Souls. It's like
Just don't even do it.
Just kill yourself now. Okay.
you don't know who Havel's third wife was? God.
Wait a
Didn't you
second.
make this wild assumption based on the statue, the color of the statue on the wall next to the spawn point of his helmet?
First of all, if you're not speaking as though Dark Souls 1 and 2 are not like the Bible in which you live your life by, then you are clearly like the scum of YouTube and should probably
I don't
just
know
have
about
your
Dark
channel
Souls
banned.
2.
I don't get people
But
like
one
that
is
though.
pretty
Oh.
it's of pretty religious significance.
It's like, can someone who like you know that this guy has not played the games, unless he's saying that, oh, this is like being misinformed, like this like he's just it's his opinion on the story. If he says the story is just garbage and it makes no sense, then he shouldn't get trashed on. Maybe I don't know if it's his opinion.
Wait, do you think the story of Metal Gear is garbage? and
No,
makes no
I'm
sense?
just saying.
I do.
Really?
I think the
Because
story-
if you do think, then you're right. Like the meta narrative of those games is far more interesting than the regular narrative, which is a cool thing that only really happens to Metal Gear. Anyways, I don't know.
Metal Gear. I know. When I was young, when I was going through them, I did not remember the story. I just remember playing those nice, juicy bosses and the sound. That's it. That's all. That's what I remember. And the story, of course I kind of understand where it was going, but it never made sense. Oh, this is his last rodeo, and now he's going to take out the bosses. Yeah, Ocelot. Metal Gear. And then you fight Metal Gear at the end, and then
Metal Gear?
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear?
Ocelot.
Ocelot.
Yeah.
Got it.
Snake.
Ocelot.
Yeah, that was a good got it.
Yeah,
You listen to them talk, and you just nod off. Just.
maybe you do.
I
But
want to
I'm
play them again. I do, and see if I can follow it and actually enjoy it for what it is. 'Cause I feel like
think
that's
it
what's
would-
gonna happen.
I think you'll find that it would actually be easier to play through that series than The Witchers, because The Witchers, you got to put up with some jank in the very beginning, but Metal Gear Solid is always good, even back in the very beginning.
The Witchers. The original.
It's charming, but you also it's still something you got to put up with.
I can't
Yes.
believe how much I love the first one. I just really don't understand. We're going off topic, but man, Witcher 1, That was surprising. Holy crap! I'm so glad you guys forced me to that. Like, oh yeah, Witcher.
We didn't
Witcher
force
1.
you.
We didn't
Witcher
force
1.
you. We just heavily encouraged you.
Like you got to play the Witcher 1. And then
And
a
we
lot of
stole
people
your
told
turtle and
Yeah.
held him for ransom, but we didn't force you.
Me, a lot of other people were
It's
agreeing.
all
Like,
on
yeah,
you.
you gotta play from the beginning. Don't you dare play part 2 now. Part 2 and not play part 1. And I'm like, fine. But because of the Witcher, that allowed me to actually like, you know what? I'm gonna go deeper too and go to Fallout 1. And I end up finding some really cool stuff. So yeah, I'm okay with going back to the old jank, even though it's stressful. Like Fallout, so janky.
So where are you at now with your Fallout series?
I stopped and I'm
Oh.
gonna
Brutality.
start
Are you
again
not
this
doing
week.
3 in New Vegas because you only got a month.
Yeah, part 1 and 2 just. It was so stressful and so good at the same time. I just didn't want to play tactics because why would I want to play a janky game with it being bad as well?
Don't do tactics. Go to.
I'm
3,
going to
then
Fallout
New
3.
Vegas.
I'm
Okay.
going to Fallout at New Vegas and 3, and then after Fallout 4, I'm going to go back and play the janky games later on. That's
You
what I'm going to
might
do.
Be able to knock out Fallout 3 fairly quick. Never mind.
Yeah, Fallout 3
You
takes a
saw
while.
those hours,
Yeah.
right?
I was looking it up just
HowLongToBeat.com.
now.
Every
'Cause
reviewer's favorite website.
They're about the same between 3 and New Vegas, but when I was playing New Vegas, I spent like quadruple the time on that one because I didn't want it to end.
But see, I don't have to read, so it's okay. You see what I'm saying?
No, it's faster to read than to wait for the voice actor. Because you know what happens when you play Bethesda RPGs? You read the subtitles instead and then click so the voice actor can shut up and go to the next line so you don't have to wait there for geologic time to pass and oceans to close up and continents to form before the voice actors finish their like 400-page script.
I almost wish there was a way to turn off the voice acting in Fallout games so I can go through them faster.
Oh my gosh, what is wrong with you people?
What's wrong with you people? Wait.
Listen, what I'm not saying, because the reason I like Fallout because I had to read and I had my own voices for each character. But when you're reviewing a long game and you're getting tired, I don't want to read. I want to sit there and listen. And then
For me, it's just instinctive.
how
I
does
just
that
read through them
exhaust
faster
you?
than what I can hear.
You're using your face and the symbols. You're not exerting physical effort. It shouldn't be tiring.
You're using your face.
You're barely using your face. All you have to do is move your eyes, and your brain goes, "Oh, this symbol means this."
This is coming from the guy who does crunch time all night long. I can't do that. I'm too old.
You're like a month younger than me.
I'm too old, man.
What
Gray hairs.
now that Soma's out, I'm trying to put this chuck wagon back on course. We only have Fallout 4 left, right?
Yeah, I think Fallout 4 is the last big one this year.
That's it, right? We're done. Like, what's that? Assassin's Creed London.
Yeah,
Which-
okay.
Yeah.
I used to be so like, the Assassin's Creed, I'm going to play that thing. I don't even care. And then eventually I just like, they drifted away from Desmond and they started doing this whole thing where it's basically like, oh, it's a story within this world. It has nothing to do with like this whole meta, in the real world concept, which is what I thought was the best part of the damn games.
Right.
Oh, I
Threats
don't
from
like
an
Desmond.
alien world
Desmond's part was stupid. What do you mean? What do you
morons
mean?
won.
That was the whole best part of the Assassin's Creed.
That was the
Mighty-
reason to play the next one next year, was to find out what was gonna happen. No.
Mighty Number 9 comes out next week.
Don't even
Okay.
with that garbage. Okay, that thing looks so bad. I'm sorry, guys, who paid
Okay.
money for it. It's just my opinion. It
Let's
just looks
see.
really bad for $4 million. I've seen indie games with better quality
like
and
Soma.
better art.
Like Soma.
Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection comes out October 9th.
I totally want to play that. That looks good. The
Yeah.
remastering they did on, but I have all those games on PS3.
It
You know?
might not be
I
for
just
you
beat the
then,
third one.
because What I'm hearing is people are like replaying their old ones to gear up for the remasters, which I don't get. But apparently they're not good games to replay.
No.
Oh, really?
Because
the thing is,
go press forward, they go.
it's good for the story. I could understand that, but like the thing is with Uncharted, the gunplay was never too solid. It was always very tanky enemies. It just didn't really feel good when you do headshots. It won't kill them. Sometimes it was very janky, but in the third one it was a lot worse than all the other ones. It was
the guns were like intentionally inaccurate and a little soft to make it more cinematic than fun. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
They were hoping that the cinematic part would make it more fun for people.
Is a really risky gamble.
But the games are good.
Speaking of Uncharted, Rise of the Tomb Raider comes out November 10th.
Really? Get out of here. Yeah, but only on Xbox One.
Oh.
Well, it's not going to be on PC and PlayStation 4 until like next year.
I hate exclusives, man. I got all the systems, but I still hate exclusives.
Oh, you have Xbox One?
Yeah. That's the first one I got. It's the first
one.
Oh,
wow.
That means you're an expert on Killer Instinct.
Mm-hmm. Because it's the only game to play. Let me just finish that joke for you, Jordan.
That and the Halo Master Chief Collection, which will nicely keep you occupied until the October 27th release of Halo 5 Guardians.
Five Guardians?
Guardians.
5 Guardians.
5 Guardians.
Shooters, I don't know. Like they're I used to play only shooters at one time, and now I only play the ones I like.
Too.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's.
But did you say we were all angsty teenagers too?
Yeah.
Because I guilty as charged, I guess. From ages like 13 to 17, I would play whatever dumb new FPS was coming out and be like, yay.
Yeah, and you didn't care that it was actually.
I mean, I was having fun, so whatever.
Yeah. It's all about the fun you have. It doesn't matter if it's a bad game or not.
Rainbow Six Siege is coming out next week as well.
That looks cool.
There was a beta of it. I didn't
that
get to
face, Randy.
Well, based on the people that I know have been playing it, they're like the fun you have with that game is totally going to be based on how good your team is. Like it's not even like I'm going to go in and play with some scrubs and maybe I'll have a good time. Like it is just a bad
I haven't watched any videos or like watched the trailers, but I did read a shitload of beta impressions on message boards, and it seems like the consensus was that the game they've set up for it is fine, but the infrastructure around like assembling a good team and getting some good matchmaking going on might kill it in the long run, which really makes me depressed because like a solid PC competitive shooter can last a decade if they pull it off right. Like Quake 3 has held on to the Netscape from like 1999 to 2005, and then it did it again around the late 2000s when they turned it into Quake Live. And Counter-Strike, some iteration of Counter-Strike has always been like the dominant PC shooter since the late 90s. And TF2, that is about to be a 10-year-old game. It's an 8-year-old game right now, and it's still going.
What's funny is, whenever you bring up Ubisoft, everybody is always like, oh, and their first complaints are always, oh, Uplay, and oh, DLC. Like, that's like the canned response for Ubisoft. But one thing that nobody ever really seems to complain about Ubisoft, and for me, it's like the biggest complaint about Ubisoft games is they do have the worst matchmaking out of every platform, like every other developer out there. And they've had other games that were good and worthy of multiplayer, like long-running experiences. Splinter Cell Blacklist had awesome, like, a competitive, like, Spies versus Mercs gameplay. That was really comparable to Chaos Theory.
And maybe Metal Gear Solid 5 Online, which launches tonight, might fill that gap.
I hope so.
In terms of like a good asymmetrical stealth game multiplayer teams.
But because of Ubisoft's like horrible matchmaking, like nobody played it. Like you could sit there and tell it to like join a server and just sit there forever and never go in.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I played co-op and it was having problems as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. Co-op. It was also huge problems. But then also like the Assassin's Creed games, like they had that really cool hide and seek like multiplayer game. those were really fun multiplayer games, but like the matchmaking was just garbage on them. So it's like Ubisoft goes through the trouble of making these multiplayer experiences, but they don't go through the trouble of making them polished.
I really, so I hate saying it, but it just seems like they know how disposable these games are in the long run. Like they're not intending to keep polishing up a gem over the next 3 to 5 years with this thing so much as they want something to sustain themselves for whatever they push out next year.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like, if it's a disposable game and they know people are going to naturally stop playing in droves after 2 months or 1 month, then why put so much effort into it?
We got...
Yeah, it makes you feel skeezy, doesn't it?
It's weird that every time I hear the business side of video games, it's like, cause you like to think when you grow up, it's like, oh, these games are being made because they love it, they love doing it, and it's, of course, some of them do, and I guess that's why we kind of feel more of the love from indie games recently. A lot of people like indie games because the love that's poured into it is like their love child over months and years of work. After they come out from their part-time job or whatever some of these guys' stories are. And with these AAAs, like, it just, man, sometimes it's just not so good. Not everything can be Witcher 3, but,
yeah.
At least decent.
The idea of, like, just the disposable video game is probably what bothers me most. If I was not a critic, I would not be buying brand new games. I wouldn't. I would be buying all old games
that last long.
What's that?
The games that last long.
Yeah. I mean, look at even Steam sales and stuff. God, for like $5 you could buy AAA games from last year. So why even bother buying new games at all when all you got to do is wait 8 months? I don't know.
It depends, and like there's certain games I would buy on launch, but most games I don't at all. I would buy Kingdom Hearts because I'm an addict. And, I would buy it because that's the game, and like George will buy Metal Gear. Like, he will buy Metal Gear.
I'm pretty happy with that Metal Gear.
Yeah, exactly.
The last game I bought before then for full price was Bloodborne, and that was a pretty good bet. I mean, in both cases, I waited a day. I bought them the day after launch, just to make sure, like, wait for those reviews to come out. But, yeah, it's been like a really good year if I can buy 2 games at full price and not feel bad about that. Speaking of disposable multiplayer shooters that could last longer if they gave them a chance.
Whoa.
Another Call of Duty comes out next month, and it's Black Ops 3. Do we care?
I don't.
Yeah, I played the beta, man. It felt great. It felt great, man.
Did it? Because, I mean, like Call of Duty Advanced Warfare was a pretty fun multiplayer shooter, but they just don't really try to sustain them anymore. Like, people liked it the month it came out, but then proceeded to forget about it. Like, the whole $60 tacked-on single-player campaign, I don't think that model really works anymore. And since they know they're putting one out every year, they don't do a lot to sustain it over a long period of time.
We are forgetting about Battlefront.
Yeah, but
Hype.
That's probably because I don't care about Battlefront.
But that game's gonna be huge, at least for like the month. It could be.
It might be a huge disappointment, because the beta impressions. Yes, Matt.
Yeah. No. I wasn't raising my hand. I was just pumping.
Oh.
Because I just like Battlefield
You want to
games.
believe?
Even though the latest games weren't so well, I'm a Bad Company 2 type of guy, and the old Battlefields, those just felt.
I even liked Battlefield
sick.
3.
Yeah, I like Battlefield 3 for a little bit, not as much as as Bad Company 2. I like Bad Company 2 much more. I skipped 4 entirely, personally.
You didn't miss much, man. Let me tell you, you did not miss much.
Which is why I'm thinking I'm probably going to go back into Battlefront. Like,
you're gonna reinstall Origin.
I just hope they don't mess it up, man. Oh, gosh, I forgot about that.
I think I have Origin installed. I'm going to check Windows and see if it's even installed right now.
I did not reinstall it after I reinstalled on my SSD. I did not.
ORIGI. Nope, I made it to It says search the web. It's not on my PC. I don't even have it installed on my computer.
Yay!
There are some cool-looking indie games that might still be coming out this year. I'm trying to see if they updated the release date for No Man's Sky, because
what about Hyperlight Drifter?
Hyperlight Drifter, I think No Man's Sky might still be a 2015.
No Man's Guy?
Let's see. I'm looking at an article here that was put up yesterday, because they did that big feature on the Colbert Show. Oops, I mean the Daily Show. Oops, I mean the Nightly Show. Oops, I mean the Late Show.
Oh, I thought you were gonna have one more in you.
No, I don't. This headline for this article literally says No Man's Sky release date. And I'm trying to find the release date in this wall of text.
Well, Light Drifter is next year, so.
What about The Witness?
Can I get a witness?
The Witness.
Nice.
Release date.
Nice.
January 2016. It's January 2016. It might as well be 2015. They delayed Hitman back to March, so we don't got that going for us. Firewatch. That was supposed to be
looks
2015 a little while ago.
Oh, that's a must play for me.
Yeah, that looks really neat.
I'm getting that, like, hands down.
Yeah,
I think
still
it's gonna
calling it
serve
2015.
I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be a full price game, so I'm fine with that purchase.
Like
It's
$20 maybe. Maybe it'll be 20. I hope it's not 40.
voice acting, dude. It's on that. Oh, it's tickling. It's tickling. Oh, so good, so good. Yeah, have you seen the demo for that, George? Unimpressed.
No, I don't want to spoil.
Okay, good.
Because I plan on playing it and doing a review. I'm sure they'll send me a copy. Because it's not a super
You don't even have to
confident
apply.
AAA.
They just send it to George.
No,
Just
I
mail it to
will
me.
have
Yeah.
to, but I didn't get a copy of
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear, but I also didn't ask
I
for
wonder
one.
why,
But Bloodborne.
Metal Gear
Bloodborne. I
Fulton
had
Pants.
to buy Bloodborne, and that I thought that was fine.
I don't know if it's necessarily a regular company that sells Bloodborne. Like From Software, I don't think they're like really into like, oh, here's a copy. I don't think they really care, do they?
I think I looked them up to like request a review copy, but most of the sites I found for them were still in Japanese. So somebody might have gotten my email. They might not have been able to read it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't care.
They probably or they just probably
They just
care.
don't care.
I don't think I even bothered with Konami and Metal Gear. I think I just bought that one.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I've been skimming this article on iDigital Times that is literally headline No Man's Sky release date, how No Man's Sky will convert a new type of gamer, which is not what I'm here for. I want to know No Man's Sky release date, and it's not in here. It's not in the article.
To be announced.
I'm thinking that's going to be a really disappointing game. I don't think it's going to be a bad game. I just think it's going to be a really disappointing game. Because I think everybody right now has this picture of a game in their mind of what No Man's Sky is going to be, and it's obviously not going to be that picture.
Here we go. They just say the release date is secret. So, yeah, the article's called No Man's Sky release date, because I guess they knew people would want to be searching for that.
Clickbait.
And all they have is...
It's like that anglerfish. You went right for it, baby.
Yeah, I just sunk right in. This predatory defense mechanism has worked for millions of years. No reason for it to stop now.
I need to start titling my articles, my reviews better. You can review. Just watch this Metal Gear Solid review with this one neat trick.
Colbert asked Hello Games boss Sean Murray when No Man's Sky is going to release, speculating that it must be soon since he's doing television shows. Murray then just laughed and said it's secret. That's the No Man's Sky release date.
Yay.
But yeah, so, we got the Firewatch and the Hyperlight Drifter.
Yeah.
And,
And Fallout 4.
Fallout
and
4.
Battlefronts.
Xenoblade Battlefront. Yeah, but my hopes for Battlefronts really dashed after hearing Jesse Cox on the Co-op Channel talk about how it looked like a hot mess last month, and with them gearing up to release this month, yeah.
You know what really kind of turned me off immediately when I was watching the previews for that, and I was like, oh, I need to stop watching previews for this, or I'm not going to want to play it at all when it comes out. And I kind of want to play it because I used to be a huge Star Wars fan. But in one of the trailers, they're like, the Millennium Falcon is here, and then they like have this voiceover guy who sounds like Harrison Ford, and he says, "Never tell me the odds," and it's like, that wasn't a Han Solo catchphrase. He just said it once. It was a neat thing for him to say, but it wasn't like every episode he was like, never tell me the odds about the Force, Obi-Wan Kenobi. It was a one-time thing, and for them to kind of recycle it just feels dirty.
Like they're making it a catchphrase when it was not one before.
Yeah.
That's so fun. That's a weird thing to turn you off of it. Of all the things.
It just feels dirty.
Buy the game.
It's
buy
not
the
like
game.
In anything having to do with what people who have actually played it think of the gameplay or what the gameplay looked like. It is just an audio sound cue they used.
Seems neat to me.
Okay.
I'm gonna try it. Matt, you want to play Battlefront together?
Yeah. I just hope it's not like Battlefield with lightsabers. I just don't want that.
I mean, that's what I'd be fine with that. Like if it works good and plays good.
I
and
hope
is
it's like
Battlefield
old Battlefield with lightsabers, not new Battlefield with lightsabers.
Battlefield 2142 with lightsabers in it, because I mean, they're basically just Star Wars anyway. Yeah. Ground troopers and your walker tanks and stuff.
What if there's a Leviathan mode where you all have to ride planes up into the butthole of a Star Destroyer and then capture it from the inside?
Be so cool.
Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah. But they said there was like no space stuff, so.
Well, you can still fly the planes on ground maps.
Yeah, maybe the Star Destroyers
which means that they're planes, not spaceships.
I just hope they don't.
They were essentially Star Destroyers in 2142 anyway. The Titans, they had those big Star Destroyers.
That was the word. I think I said Leviathan, but whatever.
Maybe they were.
Yeah, it was a really creative, fun mode where it seems like it could be adapted well to that kind of thing, but. Like the engine and the philosophy and the aesthetics of those games have changed so much since then. Like the old Battlefield games were so much more quieter, a lot more toned down. There was still a lot of scale and spectacle to them. It's like as the player count went down, the amount of ambient noise and sounds went up, which is funny.
Yeah.
Because
you would hear a sniper. You would just sit there
and the rest would be completely quiet. But in starting at Bad Company, you would hear a sniper, and it would echo 3 or 4 times across the field, and you would hear like 6 of your people scream "Sniper!"
Yeah.
And you would hear the casing fall into the grass on the other side of the hill. Really over the top sound design. This is great.
I think sound design is probably like the best thing of Battlefield. I think that's what kind of it wraps the game together, because being able to hear everything around you is fantastic, especially if you have the setup for it. All you need is a really good headphones, or you can get one of those gamer headsets.
Don't buy anything that has gamer in the title.
What do you mean? Don't buy anything that doesn't have gamer in the title. What are you talking about, George?
Real 7.1 surround sound.
Gamer surround sound.
No, it's just going to be really expensive plastic crap that would be cheaper if it was expensive plastic crap without gamer in the title. That's how it works. They're literally selling.
They're feeding you crap.
Marketing as a premium.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if you just spent $200 on a new gaming headset.
Well, Matt, you have a gamer chair back there, don't you?
Oh, this is an elegant studio office chair, my friend. Okay. Okay, with so many. Sorry, I can't hear you. Oh.
It's not a chair. This is the tactical ass retention mechanism.
Yes. It's also a bed. There's also a toilet that you can actually just.
I totally remember you doing like reviews of gamer chairs and like making fun of it along with us.
They sent me one, and I was in some bad dude. Come over here, experience this chair, dude.
I'm jealous of your chair. My chair is like a $40 Staples chair. That's like when I get off of it, pieces of it follow me around the house.
How do you feel about doing a review?
I'm not doing a review on a chair,
dude.
$390,
dude.
What,
dude? And that's the cheapest one. This one, my friend. This is the holy grail, $500, dude.
Oh my god,
that's more expensive than video games.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so,
well, like I bet.
When you're sitting in a chair all day long, it hurts. Okay, your back, you start having back problems. You start walking like an old man. Yeah, dude. And then you know when you finally go outside, you're walking like an old man and you're like trying to cover your eyes because the sunlight burns, and it just looks weird. See, now you can go up there, you can stand up straight and tall, you don't have to look weird like a closet gnome when you go to buy groceries, right, guys? No, just me.
I just wear my sandals to go grocery shopping.
You have kids, Randy, so you probably go outside.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
I when I go to pick up my son, I'm thinking, did I wear this shirt yesterday when I picked him up? Because if I did, I either have to shower or change my shirt.
Wow, you're responsible. I showered before doing this podcast because this is the most important thing I've done in like 3 days.
Listen, I have no pants on, and I'm just wearing a nice shirt here because Satchel was like, "Oh, why you not dressed up, man? Why you not dressed up?" I'm like, "Listen, dog, I don't have to look pro all the time, but see."
I'll tell you what. Next time we do one of these GMRs, we'll do it like real pro. We'll wear suits. We'll try to keep it short so our studio lights don't like cook us to death while we're sitting in suits.
Oh, I'm baking right now.
I am too. I can feel it.
So, thank you so much for watching this episode of GMR.
Yeah, we get a little personal there towards the end, but all is good.
yeah, we did. We'll see you guys. I was about to say next week, but we do these like once a year. So
we do these when our schedules align, and that's about it.
Yeah.
You think we'll be doing another before or after MagFest?
I hope we do one before MagFest. That'd be great.
Yeah,
I mean, we're all gonna be. You know what? Why don't we try to do one about Fallout 4? Because we all know we're gonna play Fallout 4.
We could do one at MagFest. Because we're all gonna be there.
Hype.
Yeah.
Oh, did our panel get approved?
We don't find out if our panel got approved until January.
Final Fantasy 15 comes out in 2016. Okay.
So the people who care, go tweet at MagFest and say you gotta have Randy, the Weed Man, and Matt. You gotta have that.
Yeah.
Gotta have.
Zelda got delayed.
We're ready to panelize.
The Division got delayed.
No, the Division.
Le Division.
The Division. Well,
Uncharted 4 is March 2016.
We're still going.
I'm seriously looking if there's something, because like Fallout 4 might be it. It might be like the last big game I'm looking forward to. There's still some little ones, but the others I can't really see myself getting excited about.
Which is kind of nice because, looking forward, we know that we're not going to be like slamming our heads against the desk trying to get all of these reviews in before the holiday season hits.
Well, I also don't like being excited for stuff because then they have to stack up to my weird expectations.
I like getting excited for stuff. Sometimes getting excited for games is half the fun of games.
I feel like I would have liked Metal Gear Solid 5 a lot more if I wasn't so excited for it.
Oh, really? Yeah, I wasn't. I was excited for 5, but not like super soaked.
Oh, I was
super stoked.
Super soaker?
Yeah, I can't talk about it because Matt over here, but Yeah, no, because some weird specific thing I wanted to happen didn't happen means I wasn't feeling it, Mr. Krabs, in the end.
I understand.
Well, we will see you guys next year.
Maybe not. Maybe if we
Maybe
do that Fallout 4 one.
Fallout 4.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, like, I don't even have my hopes super up for that. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like a super shoddy Bethesda launch with all sorts of glitches and kind of like an open blank slate template of a game design. But you know what? That's kind of what I want, and I'm fine with that. That's what they
It's
always
so
are,
sad.
and I'm used to it.
Can I this is going to be my last pessimistic thing before I say, and then I'll shut up for the rest of the show, I promise.
Okay.
I really think that Bethesda is intentionally not launching with the mod support on Fallout 4 on consoles and stuff until next year, in hopes that they're going to get more Game of the Year awards. It sounds like a little underhanded, but I really think that when they do announce mod support, it's going to be paid mod support. And I think they're going to get it this time. And I think there's going to be a backlash, but they're going to be like, meh, we don't care because you don't have to pay Steam for our mods. You're now paying us for these mods, and now they're in the game. So I kind of think that they're intentionally holding that out because they know the backlash.
Ideas.
Yeah. They're smart.
George is gonna go nuts.
They're not smart, but don't give them ideas.
No, I'm not saying that what they do I agree with. I'm saying that what they are doing shows foresight.
They want that money.
You know,
everyone likes
Skyrim's-
Todd talking into their ear
Yeah,
with his
'cause,
sweet
man, when you get-
nothings. But
When you get those 9.5s, it doesn't matter like how much bad press you get 2 months after you launch the game because of all the mod support that you're then paying for. Game's already got all those 9.5s, man.
So you think they'd rather launch with paid mods a few months after launch than launch with free mods at launch?
Yes.
Because I think they would be just selling a whole lot more copies at a flat rate and over time if they just started with good mod support right out of the box, like with Morrowind.
Good mod support versus like good paid mod support?
Why does it have to be paid when they've been doing it for free all these years?
Because they're gonna do paid mods, dude. I'm telling you, it's gonna
Please
happen.
don't tell me. Don't tell me.
They know how much money they are missing out and how much money they've made on Skyrim just because it supported mods.
yeah,
How much money they've been missing out? That's bullshit because they've been making so much money on Skyrim because of good mod support.
You're right. I phrased that wrong. Not how much money they missed out, how much more money they could potentially be getting.
If they start charging for the things people buy their games for, then they're putting the reason to buy the game behind yet another paywall that's going to block revenue.
This time it'll be available on console. Console gamers, like, again, this is not...
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
trying to be like, PC elitist.
They willingly pay for online multiplayer, which is something they shouldn't have to. So
Right.
what are those? What do those guys know? God damn it, Randy! Ugh.
Console gamer, they will. They're going to be like, oh my god, I can have rainbow farting
I can make
unicorns in my
people
game, and all I
naked.
got to do is pay $1, and they'll do it.
dude, there's a site, there's a YouTube channel that is devoted to sexy girls in Skyrim, and
Yeah, I believe it.
He gets like 400,000 views each video, dude.
Doing
Earning
this
an
all wrong.
honest day's work,
I'm
huh?
not sexy enough for this shit.
Sexy,
Yeah, I gotta lose
sexy
weight.
models.
You
the
just
whole
wait.
time. Just
The end of the summer, I'm gonna look like Megan Fox. Oh wait, summer already ended. You just wait. At the end of next summer, I'm gonna come out of the gym with rock hard abs and an hourglass figure. I'm gonna look perfect.
I'm gonna look like you, George. Look, I'm balding. Look at that.
What? I still have some of it.
I'm balding.
You're
dude.
losing your hairline too. Shut up.
I know.
you-
Look at that.
Yeah,
look at that.
see?
Look at that. Look at that spot right there, dude.
I know
It's
it's,
happening,
jutting
bro.
out. The line should be down here, but no, it's up there. So shut up.
We're not sexy enough for this shit, is what it
No.
boils down to.
Yeah.
We just gotta believe and follow our rainbow and take our vitamins.
I need one of those spray cans where they have in those infomercials where they spray and the hair just appears.
Those look so cool. I want to buy one of those just to see.
It's
Spray
real
it on my
hair.
cat or something.
It's just sprayed on with a can. Yeah, that's that's so true. Yeah, right.
How much do you guys remember about Metal Gear Solid 4?
Not much.
Okay.
You know, it's terrible because I replayed it like about a year ago, and I really don't remember much from it.
One of the commercials in the very beginning is for this workout program called Body of Armor. And when I was going back through Metal Gear Solid 4 stuff while I was writing my video about 5, I saw this thing, and it was like the most hilarious thing I've seen in my life. Where you see this woman punching the air while like a high-pitched helium female voice says, When I started gaining weight after having my first child, I lost confidence in myself, which means I lost confidence in my child, my only child. And there's like such a sense of humor and like creepy, unsettling surrealness to all of these commercials that's so brilliant that I wish there was more of that in Metal Gear Solid 5, but...
Oh, there's none of the wacky stuff?
Yeah,
I
there's
really enjoyed the wacky
wackiness
stuff.
there, but it's more hands-on wackiness. Like the stealth gameplay in Metal Gear Solid 5 is basically a Three Stooges routine. You poke the guard's eyes and they're like, ah, and then you kick them in the nuts and they're like, oh, and then you poke them in the eyes again, and it just goes on forever, and it's funny. That's comedy, right?
Yeah, and you can shoot your fist at them.
Comedy.
Yes. You can launch a remote-controlled robotic fist that you can hit kids in the nuts with. It's great.
Kids?
I don't
Anybody,
know.
really.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyways,
Donkeys, zebras, whatever you want to punch in the nuts, you can do
zebras.
with this robotic
Zebras are fair
fist.
game. It's a really funny game. It's got comedy.
We good? Anything
Yeah,
else,
we're
guys?
good.
I think
We
we're
good?
I
We
just
ended
gotta-
like 20 minutes ago. It's
We
fine.
did?
Yeah.
Oh,
Alright, it's
we're
fine.
Now we're officially ending.
Yeah,
Time
alright.
flies.
We'll
when
see you
talking-
guys next time.
Bye.
on GMR.